Hi there, so this is a quick hip mobility floor for Jess, who wanted some kind of like movement snack just for hips, tight hips. So yeah, here we go. So I'm not going to do very many repetitions to keep it condensed, but you can add on and hang out in the places where it feels like you need to. But let's crack on. So we're going to start off with frogs. So you come to all fours to start with. So all fours, hands under shoulders, knees under hips, and then you're going to take your knees as wide as you can, comfortably as wide as you can, and then take your feet slightly wider than your knees. You want to make sure that your tail's not tucked under, tail up, and then you're rocking forwards and back from there, so frogs. You'll feel, if you've got your knees wide enough and you're in a good position, I say good, you find that you won't be able to go back that far. There'll be like a restriction. It gives you a deep sensation into the hips. So rocking backwards and forwards. And then from there, coming down onto the elbows. So where your hands were, just put your elbows. Same thing, rocking forward and back. It just changes the angle of the thigh bone in the hip socket, I suppose. Just changes the feeling of the stretch. And then we're going to add in a foot lift. So you're going to rock back. As you come forward, you're going to pick up your left foot. So I'm internally rotating my thigh bone, pointing my knee down and lifting my foot. Put it down, rock back. Come forward, switch to the other side. Rock back, come forward, turning the thigh bone, picking the foot up and then putting it back down where it came from. And then from there we can make this a little bit bigger. So as you come forward, pick up the foot, you might need to take your hands a little bit further out in front, because what you're going to do is you're going to keep turning the thigh, turning the thigh, turning the thigh, and dropping, if it's the right foot coming up, I'm dropping my right hip down to the ground. You can see I'm kind of twisting away and looking away from that leg that's lifted, and then it goes down as I push back. Same again on the other side. I'm going to lift the leg. As I come through, I'm going to shift this arm so you can see I'm going to drop the hip down. I'm going to look away from that hip. Pushing back. Same on the other side. So a little bit of, it just makes it a bigger movement. If in theory I'm trying to get this ankle bone down to the floor in front of me. Don't expect it to ever get there, by the way. You never know. So rocking forwards and back, and as you come forward, you'll feel it as you come forward and you drop that hip down. It kind of drives you, the body, away from it. It sends you in the direction you need to go. I'm going to turn the head. So as you come forward, I'm kind of looking away from the foot that's coming over, ankle bone to the outside. And then sit it back from there, closing the legs down. I'm going to come to the 90-90, good old 90-90. Can't get better for hip mobility than this. So 90 the hips, the knees, the feet, or the ankles. And you want to sit down into that back hip. You can actually make this the exercise itself. So sit the hip down and then lift it up. Sit the hip down and lift it up. So all I'm doing is dropping my butt cheek to the floor and lifting it back up. So I'm trying to, essentially I'm mobilising this back hip first. You can kickstand with the hands if you need to, or you can be upright with the hands off the floor. Loads of stuff you could do here, but for our purposes this will do. I'm just trying to gently mobilise the hips. And then we're going to switch sides. So take the opposite side, 90-90. You will have one side that's slightly less awesome than the other. This is my slightly less awesome side. So I'm going to kickstand the hands. Same thing, I'm trying to sink my back hip down to the floor so my butt touches, and then release it back off. So I'm rolling the pelvis kind of forward, hip bone coming forward, and then hip bone sinking down. Hip bone coming forward, hip bone sinking down. Again, if you do it without hands, that's fine. If you need your hands, that's okay too. If you can't get to the 90-90, then you just pull everything in a little bit more. So you pull the feet towards you, but you're still trying to get that back hip to drop down to the floor. I don't know, maybe 10 or 15 here. And release. And then we're going to come into our long lunge position. So I've got some blocks ready. So however you want to get there, you can get there from plank where you step forward, or you can get from sort of hands and knees, bring one foot forward and then walk the other one away, tuck the toes and come up. So we're in this long, deep lunge position. You can have the back knee down. If holding the back knee up is a little bit kind of meh, and place the back knee down, your choice. But otherwise, I'm up here and then I'm turning this knee out to the side. So I'm coming onto the outside edge of my foot and prying my hip open here. And I'll show you what the blocks are for in a minute. I'm going to turn it slightly so you can see what I'm doing. So ideally, what we're after in this next section is the ability to rotate up to the sky or beyond. So I'm trying to twist from the ribs. And then the ability to get the forearm to the floor, particularly the elbow next to the foot. So it's this where most people have the problem. And that's why bringing the floor to you is a good idea. It's too high. That's about right. So I can hang out here a little bit longer, letting the hips sink, but I can stay more square. You know, for me to come down to the floor, I can get there, but I kind of have to, you know, that knee scooting out to the side. It's not a great position. So some kind of cushion block, etc. just helps you hang out there. A few deep breaths. Try and relax into the position. And then we release and we switch sides. So we go square on. So again, opposite side, left foot comes outside, left hand. Nice long lunge position, pick up the back leg or keep the knee on the floor, your choice. Same thing, I'm sending this knee out to the side just by tilting my foot to one side, coming onto the outside edge. Turn, turn, turn. And same thing here, opening up to the sky, so doing a little bit of upper back rotation as well, even while mobilising into the hip. And then however many blocks you need, and this is my slightly less awesome side again, however many blocks you need to be able to just hang out in this position. And you don't have to be still. I like wiggling and kind of move the hips about. Hips are meant to move in all different directions, so you don't need to be still. You can drop, you can circle the hips, rock from side to side, and then release out of that. And that should do it, I think. How have I done? 8 minutes plus a bit of waffle at the beginning. So that's the quickest 5-minute mobility session I've done ever.